Hey, this is Adam Levy for Guitar Tips. If you watch this channel regularly, you will probably notice that I'm not in my regular spot, and this isn't some green screen trick. I really am in a hotel room. I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm here to shoot a couple of videos for TrueFire. They're a company that I've been doing online courses for since 2013, and I'm here to do a couple more. If you want to learn more about what they do and what I've done for them in the past, I'll put a link down below, and you can see some of my courses down there. I've been working my way through the alphabet in this mini series called the ABCs of Guitar Tips, and this is the letter P, so I'm going to talk about something that begins with the letter P, and of course, what else would I talk about besides guitar picks? The reason that picks have been on my mind recently is that earlier this month I was teaching at a music camp called CCMC. Happens in Northern California for 2 weeks in the summertime. And I met a really interesting teacher. His name is Ray Burrell, Bierl. And I saw in the catalog that he was teaching a course called 12 Ways to Work a Guitar Pick. And now, if you're familiar with these things, you might think, well, how can there be 12 ways? There's down and there's up, and that's pretty much it, right? But, I thought it was a great title anyway. And then the first, night or second night of camp, there was a faculty concert, and I got to hear Ray play. And it's one thing if just one person steps up to a mic and they have a good sound. You figure, well, they must have a really great guitar, or they must just, whatever it is, they sure sound good. But then when you get to see 19 other people step up to the same mic on the same stage and play guitar, you notice when somebody sounds extra special. And I'm not just talking about musicality. I'm talking specifically about getting a sound from the guitar. So that intrigued me and made me want to check out Ray's class. So I went and sat in on it one morning, and a lot of what he was talking about was different rhythms, different ways to play eighth note rhythms using combinations of down and up strokes. But he also just talked about the pick itself, like how much pressure you're holding the pick with. When people first start out, I think a lot of people have this experience where they hold it too light and they keep dropping it, or in the course of playing they get kind of sweaty and the pick starts to kind of move around, and all of a sudden it's not at the angle that you want anymore. And so to combat that, they develop this kind of like death grip on the pick, to where you're going to show the pick who's boss. And what happens then is just all of your tone and nuance just disappears, and it's just kind of like clang, clang, clang. And I don't know, to me that would be pretty discouraging, when you're learning to play, to get that kind of sound. Maybe you've conquered the pick, but you've lost the battle, of sound and musicality and dynamics and anyway, you know what I mean? Did this happen to you when you were starting out? Do you know what I mean? Now I'm speaking for myself. I can't say that what I'm going to say now is speaking for Ray. But I just want you to consider that, we all get pick crushes, right? Like every couple of years I decide, like, okay, this is the greatest pick, or maybe it's this one. Yeah, that's really the greatest pick, or maybe it's this one, or maybe it's these Japanese ones that I found on eBay that just look so gorgeous but don't sound as gorgeous as I hope they would. A lot of times when people are working on their picking, it comes down to speed and accuracy. They're trying to play as fast and as accurate as possible. But just really what this episode is about is that I just want to remind you that it's also about your sound, right? What you sound like. So much of it, if you play with a pick. Now, if you play with your fingers, that's something else. But if you play with a pick, your sound comes down to not necessarily buying the right pick, but just buying a pick, and spending time with it to try to get the sound out of it that sounds really right to you. I got to interview Pat Metheny years ago for Guitar Player magazine, and he talked about when he was growing up in Missouri, there was not like a guitar store to go to in his hometown, so he would just buy guitar picks like at the local pharmacy, drugstore, whatever kind of place, and all they had were these really thin picks. So he learned to I don't know exactly because this is a phone conversation, but the way I understood it, he was saying that he kind of bent the pick a little bit and held it at a certain angle, and in doing that he was able to get a very thin pick to sound more full-bodied. By the same token, I've seen people use very heavy picks. This is called heavy, but in the big picture of all the guitar picks you could get your hands on, it's not a particularly heavy pick. There's much thicker slices of material you can get, and you can get material that's more firm than this. And I've seen people play with very bulky picks and still get a lighter sound because of the way that they're holding it. So that's really all. I don't want to talk and talk as I sometimes do here, but just to encourage you to, with whatever pick you have, for today, instead of working on accuracy or speed or whatever else you do when you think about picking, just think about your sound and experiment with pressure. This is firm pressure and this is very light pressure, angle, this way, all the different axes that you could work out, and see if you can make the guitar sound better by something that you're doing with the pick. If it sounds, take notes, keep a little journal like you're doing a lab experiment. Write down what you do, see what works, see what doesn't work, and try to go towards the stuff that does work and is rewarding. Get the most beautiful sound that you can. Don't, the pick's not going to do that for you. You have to draw that sound out of the guitar through the way that you work the pick. So, okay, for guitar tips here in St. Petersburg, Florida, I'm Adam Levy. Stay tuned and take good care.